Friends, let us discuss some aspects of the chromosomes briefly, because study of chromosome, study of DNA and genes is a big science. It needs a lot of time and energy, but we would try to understand some basic aspects of the chromosome, like the structure of the chromosome, some types of the chromosome, number of the chromosomes, like that. Now, as we have discussed earlier in our previous video, that inside the nucleus chromatin material is present. The nucleus, intact nucleus, is seen in the S phase, interphase of the cell cycle, when the cell is not in dividing phase. When the cell is not dividing, at that time we see a nucleus like this. Now, this nucleus contains inside it a network of chromatin material. Now, this chromatin is formed by DNA and the histone proteins. I have tried to show here with this diagram. This is the DNA. This DNA is like this, and this DNA coils around the 8 histone proteins. Histone proteins are the basic proteins. 8 histone proteins come together, they form an octamer of 8 histone proteins, EIGHT 8 in number. Now, these 8 histone proteins are forming a ball-like structure. Now, this DNA coils around that ball-like histone protein, octamer of the histone proteins, and a beaded string-like structure is formed. This is also called as nucleosome fiber. Again, now this is not the only coiling. The DNA coils around the histone proteins, and then the nucleosome fiber, which is formed by DNA plus histone proteins, this nucleosome fiber, this again coils around it. So again supercoiling is there, and after supercoiling of the DNA around the histone proteins, the chromosome fiber is formed. Now, chromosome never remains chromosome. It remains in the form of chromatin most of the time. Only at the time of cell division, the chromatin fiber coils and coils and coils, and it forms the chromosome. So, when the cells are going to be divided, one cell into 2 cells, at that time the nuclear envelope disorganizes. Nuclear envelope, it is disorganized. Nuclear envelope is not present, and then the chromatin is released free in the cytoplasm. Now, this chromatin coils and coils, and it becomes, after supercoiling, it becomes a chromosome. Now, this chromosome which I have shown here in the figure, it is double chromosome, means after synthetic phase, when the chromatin cell enters into the synthetic phase, S phase, whatever chromatin or DNA is present, it is replicated. One chromosome initially, or in chromatin material, one chromatin has one DNA. One chromatin has one DNA, single DNA, but here this chromosome is having 2 DNA, so it is already a DNA, it is already a chromosome ready for cell division, it is ready for breakage. So, in this chromosome here at the beginning of cell division, now always remember, the chromosome at the beginning of cell division is having 2 DNAs in this way, and the chromosome after cell division, again chromosome after cell division, is having single DNA. Now, here the chromosome is having 2 DNA because it is ready for cell division now. In this chromosome we can see 2 chromatids. So, here this is one chromatid, this is another chromatid. So, in a chromosome generally 2 chromatids are present. This is one chromatid, this is another chromatid. So, a chromosome which is ready for division the chromosome in a cell ready for division. Generally, I told you chromosomes are formed at the time of division. Chromatin is in interphase, and when the cell enters divisional phase, then mitosis or meiosis, at that time cell division, at that time when the nuclear envelope breaks, disorganizes, then the chromatin material forms the chromosome. So this chromosome is having two chromatids because it is ready for splitting into two. So it is having two chromosomes. Already replication of the DNA has taken place, and now this chromosome with two chromatids, also called as sister chromatids. So two chromatids are present here at one place. Here it shows constriction. This is called as primary constriction or the centromere. Centromere, also called as primary constriction. Primary constriction. A constriction is present here, and this is called as primary constriction or centromere. At the same place, I have tried to show here with a red color, some disc-like structures are present on both the chromatids separately. Here a red disc, here a red disc. So disc like small kinetochores, these structures are called as kinetochores. These kinetochores are the structures where the spindle fibers are attached at the time of cell division. When cell division is in progress, the spindle fibers or the microtubules of the centrioles, microtubules produced by the centrioles or the centrosome. So that microtubule comes here and it gets attached here. Another microtubule comes here. These microtubules are now called as spindles. So spindle fibers are attached here and here. And when at the time of cell division, this chromosome splits into two chromatids from here. So here it splits, and one chromatid is pulled to one pole by this spindle fiber, and this is pulled to another by another spindle fiber. And that's why at the time of cell division we observe such type of structure. Yes, we have discussed that this is the centrosome, and this centrosome forms the spindle fibers like this, and at the time of cell division the chromosomes are like this. So the sister chromatids or two chromatids of each chromosome, one is pulled to this pole by the spindle fibers, another is pulled. These chromosome undergo splitting here at the center, at the centromere position, and one part chromatid is pulled to one pole, another part is pulled to another pole. This happens at the metaphase of the cell division, when the chromosomes are arranged at the center. That is one divisional phase. We would discuss it in cell division separately. So anyhow, this chromosome is having a constriction here, and at this constriction two kinetochores are present on two chromatids, and these kinetochores are the binding sites for the spindle formation, spindle fibers, and the spindle fibers get attached to these kinetochores at the time of cell division, and they are pulled to respective poles, opposite poles, by the spindle fibers at the time of cell division. So this is the primary constriction. Now this chromosome is having two chromatids, it is having primary constriction, it is having kinetochores. Inside it, it is having the nucleosome fiber. This fiber DNA is present, coiled DNA, the DNA which is packaged with the help of histone proteins. Such packaged nuclear material or the DNA is present inside the two DNAs are present before cell division. At the beginning of the cell division, two such DNAs are present in two chromatids. Many a times it is seen that the chromosomes are of different types. The chromosomes vary in their size, shape and their length, etc. So many a times it is seen that some chromosomes have a small constriction here, and at the tip of that constriction again a spherical body is present. Now this constriction is called as secondary constriction. This is the primary constriction and this is secondary constriction, the constriction which is present at the tip, and it is at its tip it is bearing a spherical body which is called as satellite. So if satellite is present in a chromosome, it is called as SAT chromosome, SAT chromosome. In each organism, different types of chromosomes are present, and out of these chromosomes, few chromosomes have this secondary constriction and they are having these satellites. They are satellite, and such chromosomes are called as SAT chromosome. So primary constriction or centromere is present in the chromosome. Now due to this centromere, the chromosomes are of different types. They are categorized into 4 different types. Let's see what are those types of chromosomes based on the position of centromere. Centromere is very important because it is holding together the two chromatids. Also, this centromere gives site of attachment to the spindle fibers at the time of cell division, and this divides the chromosome in 2 parts. The arms, each chromatid is having 2 arms. Now generally they are referred as long arm and short arm if they differ in their length. The centromere may be present at different positions. Depending on that, the chromosomes may be, we will draw here types of chromosomes. Based on the position of centromere. Now suppose that this is a type of chromosome in which the centromere is exactly at the center. This is another chromosome where the centromere is not at the center. It is slightly away from the center. This is third, where the centromere is present. And one more, like this. Now I would show the centromere with red color. So here centromere is present at the center, exactly at the center. Here it is slightly towards one side. Here it is exact near one of the ends, and here it is at the end. So this type of chromosome where the centromere is lying at the center, exactly at the center, is called as metacentric. The chromosome is called as metacentric when the centromere is at the center, exactly at the center. It means that the long and short arm, that concept is not here. Both the arms are equal. The chromosomes in which both the arms are equal in length, they are called as metacentric chromosome. Now this is a chromosome in which the centromere is towards, it is not exactly at the center, it is slightly away from this. So the chromosome has 2 types of arms. This arm is short arm, this arm is long arm, but the ratio is not very much differing. The long arm is not very much short, it is not double the short arm. Slightly difference is there. If it is 5 centimeters, then it is 3 centimeters, like that. This type of chromosome are called as submetacentric chromosome. Submetacentric chromosome, the chromosomes in which the centromere is submetacentric, not exactly at the center, slightly away from the center. Now this is the third type where there is end, this is end and the centromere is towards one end, not exactly at the end but towards the one end, and then this is called as acrocentric. This one, acrocentric chromosome, where the centromere is towards the one end. So here the short arms are very short and long arms are very long. There is huge difference. If it is 5 centimeters, then this is 1 centimeter only, or 0.5 centimeter only. So that is the difference, big difference in the two arms, short arms and the long arms. And this is one type in which it is called as telocentric. This is acrocentric and this is telocentric chromosome. Now in this type of chromosome there are no short arms. The centromere is exactly at the center. Such type of chromosomes are very rare. They are very less in number, but they do occur. They are present, not absent. So such type of chromosomes are having centromere at one end. The end position is always called as telomeric position, and therefore the chromosomes are called as telocentric chromosome, where the centromere is present at the end, telocentric chromosome. So metacentric chromosome, submetacentric chromosome, acrocentric chromosome and telocentric chromosome. Position of the centromere in the chromosomes is very important because the chromosomes are generally of the same type in each species. We can identify the species on the basis of chromosome morphology. So chromosome morphology does not change within the species. So if we talk of the Homo sapiens, all Homo sapiens have similar type of chromosomes. Now come to the number of chromosomes. We would discuss some aspects here also. The chromosomes which are present in an organism, higher organisms, are generally diploid. They are represented as 2n. Now prior to that, let me explain that the number of chromosome, individual number is differing. There are organisms with 2 chromosomes only. There are organisms with 1000 chromosomes. So generally the chromosome number differs in different organisms or in different species. It is differing. We can't say exactly they are different. In some organisms there are 2, then 14, then 16, 20, 22, they like that. But the chromosomes are divided like this, either haploid or diploid or triploid or tetraploid. Now this ploidy level is seen. In chromosome study we see the ploidy level. Now what is ploidy level? The set of chromosome. One set means, suppose it is a set of 10 chromosomes, all 10 chromosomes differing from one another, they are forming one set. All chromosomes which are different from one another morphologically, they are different at the centromeric position. Some of them have satellite, some of them don't, some are very long, some are very very small chromosomes, like that. They differ in size, they differ in shape, they differ in centromeric position, they differ in long arm and short arm. So made, and that graph where we see the long arm, short arm, centromeric position and represent it in the form of graph, that is known as karyotype. So we see all chromosomes in a karyotype. All chromosomes of one organism are represented in a karyotype, and in the karyotype 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all 10 chromosomes differ from one another, either in length or in centromeric position or in satellite or like that. They are different from one another. Such set of chromosomes where all chromosomes differ, that is known as a set, single set, and such set is called as monoploid. Some of the primitive organisms are haploids. They are called as haploids. Monoploids or haploids. So some of the algae and biophytes, they are haploids. They are having single set of chromosome. But we, the higher organisms, are diploid. So we have two sets of chromosomes. Means 46. If in human beings 46 chromosomes are present, out of that they are forming two sets, 23 plus 23. Now these 23 chromosomes which are forming one set, they are differing from one another. All these 23 chromosomes, one is longer, one is shorter, again smaller, again longer, like that, satellite, etc. So 23 chromosomes, different chromosomes, individual chromosomes, 23, they are present, and the remaining 23 are the exact pairs. Now this is like this, they are having pairs. So 23 chromosomes, separate chromosomes, plus other 23 chromosomes which are the partners of these 23 chromosomes, means they are forming two sets. Now these, one set comes from the maternal parent and this another set comes from the paternal parent, father, and one comes from mother. So 23 chromosomes which are separate from one another. Other 23 chromosomes are the partners of these 23 chromosomes and they form homologous pairs. These are called as homologous. Locus is the position of gene on the chromosome. Position of gene. These chromosomes are having genes. So the position of gene on the chromosome is called as locus. And when exact chromosomes, two chromosomes are exact in their size, shape, structure and gene loci, their genes are also similar, then it is called as homologous chromosome. So if we replicate it, one more chromosome like this, exactly like this, with same genes on it, it would be the homologous chromosome. So in this way, the set of chromosomes in each cell, in each nucleus of an organism may be single, then it is haploid. They may be two, then it is diploid. There are majority of the organisms are diploid. Few primitive organisms are haploid, but majority of the organisms are diploid. We all are diploid, but we eat the wheat which is hexaploid. The wheat which we eat, it is hexaploid, and that's why it is not good to our health. Nowadays, when we become more health conscious, we are trying to avoid eating of the wheat because it is not natural. Hexaploid is not a natural condition. In nature, there was diploid wheat. We artificially increased its ploidy level and we have made it hexaploid. In the same way, we have increased the ploidy level of the cows and buffaloes also. Now, whatever hybrid cows and buffaloes are there in the market, we should not prefer their milk because the ploidy level has been artificially increased. Original cows and buffaloes, or the deshi cows and buffaloes, must be diploids. But to increase, now why this has happened? Because the chromosome is having genes. Each chromosome is having particular genes. The genes which are present on the first chromosome, they are not present on the second. Each chromosome has its own genes, and each and every character of any organism is controlled by genes. So milking again is a character governed by, controlled by genes. So when there is one chromosome, it has one gene of milk. If two chromosome, diploid condition, two genes, if it is a hexaploid cow, then it has 6 genes of the milk. Naturally, it gives milk 6 times more than the deshi variety, than the wild variety. And in this way, we have increased the wheat production, we have increased the milk production artificially. But quality and quantity never go hand in hand. We have lost the quality of the milk, we have lost the quality of the wheat. Anyway, this is the ploidy level. The chromosomes, if they are having only a single set, then it is monoploids or haploids. The diploid organisms have 2 sets of chromosomes, triploids 3, tetraploids 4, hexaploids 6. The chromosome number in the organisms at ploidy level. Individually, singly, they may have different chromosome numbers 2, 4, 6, and generally in diploids the chromosome number is even 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, like that. It is not uneven, it is not odd chromosome number in diploid. In haploids it may be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, like that, any countable number. Now the last thing we would conclude is the type of chromosomes depending on their work function. Functionally, the chromosomes are of 2 types. They are called as autosomes and sex chromosomes. Now, as we have discussed, 23 pairs of chromosomes, 23 pairs are present in human beings, means 46 chromosomes. Out of 46 chromosomes, 44 chromosomes are autosomes and 2 chromosomes are sex chromosomes. I already said, this is the categorization is based on their function. The chromosomes which have genes related with other characters other than sex, they are called as autosomes. The genes which are related with the sex, secondary sex characters, development of the gonads, like that, they are called as sex chromosomes. So depending on their function, now naturally, structurally also they are differing. Depending on their function, they are of 2 types. Autosomes are those chromosomes which bear the genes for general body characters, the characters which are not related with the sex. And sex chromosomes are those chromosomes which have certain genes related with the expression of sex characters. Secondary, we call them as secondary sex characters, development of the gonads, development of the milking glands, development of the testes and ovaries, like that. Those are the secondary sex characters, and the genes related with these secondary sex characters or the chromosomes which decide the sex, they are called as sex chromosomes. The other genes, other chromosomes are called as autosomes. So autosomes and sex chromosomes in case of human beings, always sex chromosomes are only true in diploid organisms, only 2. Maybe in birds or in insects, in human beings, like that, they are only 2. In case of the human beings, X and Y, these are the 2 sex chromosomes. We know that X is the combination in females. Then the 44 autosomes plus X 2 chromosomes. If it is a male, then 44 autosomes plus X and Y combination. We would talk about this in sex determination, XXXY, ZZZW, like that. But remember, out of the whole set of diploid set of chromosomes, some are autosomes and 2 chromosomes are the sex chromosomes. So chromosomes which are categorized on the basis of their behavior, whether they have the genes of the particular sex. Now lastly, what is the importance of these chromosomes? Chromosomes are highly important because they are the carriers of genes, and genes are the most important thing for us, because what we are, how we are, why we are, all these are the questions answered by the genes. Genes decide what we are, and many a times we look like our forefathers, we look like our ancestors, like our father or mother or grandfather or grandmother, because we have some genes which are donated by them. And in this way, these chromosomes decide the genes. Chromosomes have the genes, and genes decide our characters. We call them as phenotypic expressions. Whatever expressions are given by the genes, externally observable characters, the skin color, eye color, hair color, the shape, size, everything of our body, that is those are the phenotypic characters, and these characters are expressed by genes, and genes are the active segments of DNA. Genes are located on these chromosomes. The position of gene on a chromosome is called as locus. So suppose here here a gene may be present, here another gene, like this, like that, and we can make a gene map which chromosome is bearing which type of genes. So genes are present on the chromosomes, genes are the active segments of the chromosomes, chromosomes are the carriers of genes, and that is the importance of genes. That is the importance of chromosomes. Chromosomes are our hereditary material. They carry our characters from one generation to next generation in the form of genes and like that. So this is the short information about the chromosomes. So you can study chromosomes for one whole year also. We can go in detail later on, but for today I think it is sufficient. The structure of chromosome, the chromosome chromatids, the primary constriction, kinetochore, satellite, like that, the chromosome its structure, types depending on the centromere, like the telomere chromosome, telocentric or the acrocentric or submetacentric or metacentric chromosomes, then autosomes and sex chromosomes, ploidy level, haploid, diploid, tetraploid, hexaploid, like that, and the carriers of genes, their function. So this is about the chromosomes. Thank you very much.